Call Halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Waha Rakakwadash. Double honors to the hopeful elect elders and apostles of the Israelite nation who rule well, namely the hopeful elect elders and apostles over at the Great Millstone Church. Peace and many blessings be to the hopeful elect men of the Israelite nation bringing forth the truth, as well to brothers, that I personally labor with, to the rest of the 1/3 of the Israelite nation. Shalom to you all. The title of this lesson is going to be Suddenly Sown Places Unsown. Of 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So simply what we're reading here is what we are seeing currently in the world. We're watching these scriptures play out. And this is denoting all the places of business, the brands, and the people that we have seen once flourishing and ultimately coming to an end or on their last leg. So we're watching these scriptures play out in the world. And one who is in their correct or right mind would ask or question, what does this imply? What are these times denoting? 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1 reads, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. So this is what we ought to be doing. We ought to know what's going on within the times. And therefore we're measuring the times. And our measuring stick of the times are the words of the Bible and understanding them, which is the reason why we forsook the world, because we were given to understand the words of the Bible. And we being you true believers out there who are Israelites, so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, and so-called Native American and Seminole Indian people who are scattered amongst the earth, you so-called black people, you're the true Israelites. And you are who are given the ears to hear and the eyes to see. We can answer the question, why are the sown places unsown? We have been given the spirit to understand the Lord's words. You should be measuring the time diligently in itself, because we know these words are going to come to life because they have been planted, they have been sown. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee, then shalt thou understand. When you see these things happening right in front of you, then, denoting time, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people, do a quick Google search, earthquakes. I guarantee there's more than likely multiple earthquakes that happen today throughout the world. And for uproars of people going into the civil unrest amongst the nations of the world, which is another simple Google search. Verse 4 says, Then, denoting time, then shalt thou well understand. So at this point, you should well understand, seeing all these things, that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning, which is ultimately just denoting this is all prophecy, which we are seeing, which we are witnessing in real time. Revelation chapter 19 and verse 10, right? And this is an account of John the Revelator as he was speaking to an angel. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushai. And Yahushai being who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, by the way. He says, worship the Most High Yahweh, for the testimony of Yahushai is the spirit of prophecy. Yahushai is the word according to John chapter 1. So the words of this book are the words of prophecy. And that's why in real time, we are to be watching for these events that are foretold to come forth and happen. This is Luke chapter 12. in verse 49. It reads, I am, and these are red letters implying that this is Yahushua speaking the word. So these are the words. I am come to send fire on the earth. And what will I if it be already kindled? So through the scriptures, we know the spirit is likened into fire. And the Lord said he has come to send fire on the earth. So these events, the empty storehouses, the sown places that are becoming unsown all over the place, are simply prophecy playing out upon the earth. Ultimately, these little fires all over the place. All of these unsown places that used to be sown. So let's move forward. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. We started verse 4. It says, but ye brethren, you being the true believers, those of you who are given the spirit to understand these words, all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You should be watching because we don't want to be overtaken with the rest of the world. So, but ye brethren are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. So you should be prepared for the thief because we know the thief is coming. And it's not even a thief. It's just he's moving as a thief. And it's talking about Yahweh Shai. You want to be overtaken in that day, so watch. Verse 6 says, therefore let us not sleep, as do others. Talking about the world. They don't know what's going on. They can't answer these questions. It says, but let us watch and be sober. So that's us diligently measuring the time, because prophecy is simply playing out. 2 Peter chapter 3 and 10, it says, but the day of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. All right, the works therein. We seen these sown places become unsown. So in the spirit, they becoming burnt up. We are experiencing these very words. The earth is not on fire just yet. Not physically, but spiritually it's burning already. We seeing all these places be consumed. The sown places becoming unsown. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. And that word plant is synonymous with sow. So we'll hop back. 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. When you go into this word suddenly, it ultimately means unexpectedly. So all the stores out of nowhere are unsown to those who are not expecting the world to end. It's unexpected. But if you have the eye salve, all these places have been empty already. We want out of this wicked rulership, the rulership of the so-called white man, whose true identity is Esau or Edom. And we are expecting, according to the word, that this place is going to be overthrown and rooted out. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So I went into the word sow or sown. And it says to plant seed by scattering it on the earth. Plant the seeds of a plant or a crop. To plant a piece of land with seed. If you plant something, your expectation is for something to appear. Something that has taken root. Something that's tough to uproot. Something that's solidly there. And we have to keep in mind the world. So, for example, we'll just think of a piece of property that has a for sale sign on it. and somebody buys that property, and that property turns into a shopping outlet, and the shopping outlet goes forth to flourish. It's green, people are shopping, they're all through there. That's a sown place. And again, that same idea equates to buildings in different places. Thus, a place like McDonald's flourishing all over the world, and Walmart, your Targets, your Kmart's, and places such. And also, this is going into people. People could be sown places. People who are kicked are right there content in this world. They got everything. They're set up, they're rooted. They're like a plant. In the world's mind, these major businesses are going to be here forever. Let's get a scripture. Psalms chapter 49 and verse 11. It says, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. These people have the mind, their sown places are going to be sown forever, and they can't be uprooted. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names because they sold them. McDonald's, Walmart, Target, all of these are family names. And it's because they have sown or set up these strong foundations of these places, people of the world don't believe that these places could be uprooted. They didn't believe it. And therefore they believe suddenly this is all happening. So they believe in all these places actually being sown. With reality, understand these places, they got to go. They always been meant to go. So we got a few more scriptures before we close out. 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 11 reads, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved. Because the scriptures are telling us that these places won't go on forever. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? Because you have to stay locked in to the fact that this is all prophecy playing out. And you want to endure and escape. You want to get on those chariots. That's the mindset you got to have. So you got to realize that this place is over with. This place is done. All these places that appear to be sown, they're being uprooted, and it's happening right in front of your face. So you don't have to wait for it to physically manifest for them to be on fire, because the Spirit is speaking and letting you know these places are already on fire. For example, if you ever experienced a garden being built from scratch, you have to uproot all the vegetation and all the grass in that land. Everything has to be uprooted for you to start a fresh garden. And that's the same thing that's going to happen to this world. The Lord is going to return. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is going to return to uproot the current world, which is the so-called white man's world, to plant his desired kingdom, which is the kingdom of heaven. And the kingdom of heaven is simply a world that is governed and ruled by the Israelites, who are you so-called black people. So we go close out here. 2nd Esdras, chapter 6 and verse 9. Matter of fact, we'll start at verse 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, because he was going to uproot him eventually through the power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and through faith and us hoping and knowing that the Lord's words are going to stand true. So again, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. 2nd Esdras chapter 6 and 22, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Lord willing, this was edifying. Shalom.